I spent 15 years of my life in uniform, years that felt like both a heartbeat and a lifetime. When people hear that I was a Navy SEAL, they picture the grit, the adrenaline, the unbreakable resolve. They imagine the midnight raids, the precision, the victories. What they don't see, what they never talk about, is the sacrifice that bleeds quietly behind the medals, behind the salute, behind the strong jaw and steady eyes. They never talk about what it means to give your life, not just once, but in small pieces every single day. Sacrifice isn't always about dying. Sometimes it's about living a life so heavy that it takes parts of you with it. It's missing birthdays, missing funerals, missing the laughter of the people you love most. It's coming home to silence that feels foreign and realizing you've forgotten how to rest. It's the discipline of killing your own comfort so others can sleep in theirs. When I joined the SEALs, I was told, the only easy day was yesterday. I thought it was about toughness, about surviving Hell Week and enduring the impossible. But as the years passed, I realised it wasn't just about training. It was about life. Every day after service demanded more strength, to remember, to rebuild, to forgive, to face what the uniform took and what it left behind. They said I was crazy for joining. A woman chasing the trident, stepping into a world forged by men. And maybe I was. But sacrifice doesn't ask for permission. It asks for purpose. It asks if you're willing to break yourself for something that outlives you. I wasn't trying to prove that women could do it. I knew we could. I was trying to prove that I could. That I had the fire, the will, the heart to serve a cause greater than myself. I bled for that cause. I broke bones for it. I buried friends because of it. And I carry their ghosts every single day. People like to talk about heroes. But let me tell you, heroes don't feel like heroes. They feel human. They feel tired. They feel guilty that they survived when someone else didn't. The real sacrifice isn't always the last breath. It's every breath after that. When we were deployed, time stopped meaning anything. Days blended into nights, nights into missions. You learned to measure life in moments of silence between chaos. You learned to trust the person next to you with your soul. You learned that courage isn't the absence of fear. It's doing what must be done even when your hands shake. I've seen the cost of freedom. I've seen it in the eyes of mothers receiving folded flags. I've seen it in the trembling hands of soldiers holding dog tags that no longer have a heartbeat attached. Freedom isn't free. It's paid for in memories that haunt, in hearts that never heal, in lives that end so others can begin. When I retired, people thanked me for my service. They didn't understand that part of me was still over there. They couldn't see the version of myself that never made it home, the one still crouched behind sandbags, scanning horizons that never end. That's the part of sacrifice people forget, the living loss, the invisible battle that continues long after the shooting stops. There's a quote that says, "Some gave all and all gave some." I think about that often, because even when you survive, you've given something you'll never get back. You've given the innocence of simplicity. You've given your ability to see the world without caution. You've given the ease of laughter that doesn't have an echo of memory behind it. But I also learned that sacrifice can be beautiful. It's the foundation of love, of leadership, of meaning. You can't truly serve without giving something of yourself. And maybe that's what makes life sacred, the fact that it demands something real from us, that it asks us to bleed for what we believe in. When you wear the trident, it's not about glory. It's about grit. It's about the willingness to stand when others fall. It's about embracing pain as a teacher, and fear as a signal that you're alive. The ocean doesn't care about your gender, your ego, or your rank. It humbles you. It breaks you down until all that's left is truth. That's what service does. It strips you to your essence. And in that rawness, you find purpose. You find out who you are when there's nothing left to hide behind. I've stood on foreign soil and watched the sunrise after a mission, and I've thought, this is what it means to live, to give everything and still choose to love the world anyway. Because no matter how dark it gets, there's always something worth protecting, something worth fighting for. The sacrifice of life isn't just for soldiers. It's for anyone who's ever chosen duty over comfort, truth over convenience, love over safety. Parents who work 3 jobs, doctors who stay through the night, teachers who never give up on a child. Sacrifice is the quiet currency of honour. It's what holds the world together when everything else falls apart. I've met people who say, "I could never do what you did," and I tell them, yes, you could. Because sacrifice isn't about being fearless, It's about being faithful. It's about saying, even if it cost me everything, I will stand. That's what I want people to understand. We don't serve because we love war. We serve because we love peace enough to defend it. We love people enough to protect them, even if they never know our names. There's a loneliness that comes with that kind of life. But there's also peace. Because in that sacrifice, you find your purpose. And purpose, real purpose, is worth everything. When I look back now, I don't regret a single scar. Each one tells a story of someone I stood for, something I believed in, some mission that mattered. The body heals. The spirit remembers. And the legacy lives on. If you're listening to this and you've lost someone in service, know this. Their sacrifice was not in vain. It echoes through every freedom we hold, every sunrise we see, every dream we chase. Their lives remind us that courage is not about surviving. It's about choosing to serve even when survival isn't guaranteed. And if you're one of the few still wearing the uniform, remember this. The greatest honour you can give to those who fell is to live fully, fiercely, unapologetically. Don't let the world harden you. Let it sharpen you. Let their memory push you to build, to lead, to love harder than ever before. I stand here not as a hero, not as a victim, but as a witness to what sacrifice means. It means giving your time, your peace, your comfort, your life, so others can have theirs. It means understanding that sometimes you don't come home whole, but you come home proud. I'll end with this. The truest form of strength is not the ability to fight, it's the ability to keep your heart open after the battle. To keep believing in goodness, after you've seen the worst of humanity. To keep giving when you've already given everything, that's the sacrifice of life. That's the cost of freedom. And it's one I would pay again, 1,000 times over, because love, duty and honour are worth every piece of me they took. When the war ends, nobody tells you how to come home. They tell you how to survive, how to fight, how to lead, how to adapt, but never how to live again. You take off the uniform, but the mission doesn't end. The battlefield changes. It just moves inside your mind. You look at the world and wonder how everyone else kept moving when your time stood still. You walk among them, smiling, talking, pretending. But inside, you're still searching for the part of you that got left behind. For years, I thought I'd never get her back. The woman I used to be, light-hearted, curious, free. She was buried somewhere beneath layers of duty and loss. The seal in me knew how to fight, but the woman in me forgot how to live. That's when I realised, getting your life back isn't about erasing the past. It's about reclaiming your right to live beyond it. I had to learn how to breathe again. Not tactical breathing, not the kind that keeps you calm under fire, but real breathing. The kind that fills your lungs with life and not just survival. I had to remember how to sit in silence without scanning for threats. How to trust a sunrise without wondering what was hiding behind it. People talk about resilience like it's some unshakable armour. It's not. Resilience is the art of putting yourself back together differently each time you break. It's the grace to say, I'm still here, even if I'm not the same. When I first left the Navy, I couldn't sleep. My body was back home, but my mind was still on missions that would never end. I'd wake up sweating, reaching for a weapon that wasn't there. I couldn't handle crowds, couldn't sit still, couldn't stand silence. The training that kept me alive was the same thing that kept me locked away. But then I started to fight again. Not the kind of fight that needs weapons, but the one that needs willpower. I realised the hardest battle wasn't out there in the desert or the sea. It was right here, in the quiet, in the healing, in the decision to live again. Step by step, I began to rebuild. First, I started running, not for time, not for endurance, just to feel my heart beat for something other than survival. Then I started journaling, writing the things I couldn't say out loud. Then I reached out, to family, to other veterans, to anyone who would listen without judging. Slowly, I began to see the truth. You don't get your old life back. You get a new one, a stronger one. One built on understanding, not pretending. On peace, not pressure. I used to measure my worth by missions completed and medals earned. Now I measure it by how deeply I can love, how honestly I can forgive, and how bravely I can face my own reflection. To every veteran, to every warrior, to every person who's lost themselves in service to something bigger, listen to me. You are not broken. You are transformed. The fire you walked through didn't destroy you. It purified you. It burned away what was temporary and revealed what was eternal. Yes, we carry ghosts. We carry memories that don't fade. But we also carry strength the world will never understand. We've seen the edge of humanity and still choose to believe in goodness. That's power. That's redemption. When I finally started talking about my journey, people ask me, was it worth it? And I tell them this: sacrifice is never wasted when you choose to live afterward. The real honour isn't in dying for what you love, it's in living fully because of it. I went back to the ocean one day, the same one that tried to break me in training. I stood there barefoot, waves crashing, the horizon endless. And for the first time in years, I didn't feel small. I felt free. The sea that once tested my limits now reminded me how vast life really is. Freedom isn't just a nation's gift. It's a personal one. You have to give yourself permission to be free, from guilt, from fear, from the constant need to prove that you're still strong. Strength isn't in silence. It's in rebuilding. It's in laughing again, trusting again, living again. Some people think healing is weakness. They're wrong. Healing is the bravest mission you'll ever take. It takes courage to face yourself, to admit that the same warrior who could storm enemy lines can also break down in tears. Both are strength. Both are sacred. There's a phrase we used to say in the teams, "No one left behind." I think about that often, because for a long time I left myself behind. Now, I live by a new creed. Don't leave your soul on the battlefield. Go back for it! No matter how long it takes, no matter how many scars it costs, go back and get it. That's how you get your life back. You stop waiting for the world to understand your pain. You stop hiding behind toughness. You start building peace, one sunrise, one breath, one honest conversation at a time. I want you to hear me clearly. You have the right to heal. You have the right to joy. You have the right to wake up without guilt. The people we lost didn't die for us to stay frozen in sorrow. They died so we could live, really live. I carry their names, their laughter, their sacrifice, and I honour them by living a life worth the price they paid. These days my mission looks different. I mentor young women, some in the military, some not, teaching them that discipline and tenderness can live in the same heart. That strength doesn't have to mean hardness, that the world needs warriors of both body and spirit, and every time I speak to them I remind them of this truth. The battle doesn't end when the shooting stops. It ends when you learn to love life again, when you stop surviving and start being alive. So to anyone listening, whether you're a veteran, a first responder, a nurse, a survivor of something no one else can see, it's time. Go back for your soul. Reclaim it. Start with something small. Walk outside and feel the wind. Talk to someone real. Forgive yourself. You are not the same person you were before, and that's the point. You've grown. You've evolved. You've earned peace. We train to adapt to any environment, to conquer any terrain. But the greatest mission is adapting to peace. It's harder than combat, but it's worth it, because peace isn't passive. It's power under control. I used to think strength meant not needing anyone. Now I know it means having the courage to reach out, to say, I'm not okay, but I will be. Because healing is a team effort too. Getting your life back means finding joy in the ordinary again. Coffee in the morning, a child's laughter, the sound of rain. Those are victories too. Those are the freedoms we fought for. So I stand here today, not as the woman who served, but as the woman who survived service, who learned that sometimes the bravest thing you can do is to live a soft life after a hard one. My scars remind me of where I've been, but they don't define where I'm going. I used to live for the mission. Now I live for the moment, for the laughter, for the love, for the chance to feel human again. If you want your life back, take it. Don't wait for the world to hand it to you. Build it, rebuild it. Shape it with your hands and fill it with your heart. Because no one can give you peace. You have to claim it. We gave everything for freedom. Now let's be free enough to forgive ourselves. To live without fear. To smile without guilt. To love without armour. That's how you get your life back. That's how you honour your service. That's how you turn sacrifice into strength and survival into purpose. Thank you.